12,361 feet in the air lies Trail Ridge Road, the highest continuous paved road in North America, and today I'm going to try to reach the very top on this Aprilia RS660. Let's see if I survive, or will I be eaten by a Pika? We've made it to Estes Park, Colorado, and we're just a few miles from the road's entrance, and we've got a long ride ahead of us. But before we do that, I printed out a couple bingo cards with various things on it, ranging from seeing a marmot to getting stuck behind a minivan going 10 under, and I wanted to see how many of these boxes we could check off before reaching the summit. Now, like I said, we have a long ride ahead of us, so let's go ahead and get on the road. We're officially on the route. As you can see, we have about 5 miles or so until we get to the actual road we're trying to get to. It's in Rocky Mountain National Park, so we have to get like park entry to go into the park, and thankfully we were able to get a reservation in time. But let's go ahead and talk a little bit about the bike that I'm on today. Before I even say anything, I want to thank Evan Norm on Instagram. I'll put his link in the description below and on screen. He let me borrow his Aprilia RS660 for this little adventure I'm going on to the highest continuous paved road in, I'm pretty sure, the US, or maybe North America. I can't remember. I'll have to double check. That's what we're doing today. So it's going to be incredibly cold up there. It's about 70 degrees Fahrenheit in Estes Park, and then up there it'll probably be closer to 40 or 50 once we get to the very top, because it is just cold. And this road's only open for like 2 or 3 months a year because it's just snow covered the rest of the time. Like the visitor center up top there will literally be underneath the snow at some times of the year, which is crazy. But we should see a lot of things on this road, including cyclists. Hey buddy, this RS660 is crazy. If you guys have never ridden an RS660, it's kind of on par in the same class as my Yamaha R7 is, the purple one that I normally ride, but it's just a lot fancier. It's like comparing, you know, a Honda to an Audi, right? Like it's pretty much the same car, but the Audi's just a lot fancier. I believe Estes Park is about 7,000 feet altitude, and then Trail Ridge Road, as you see in the title, is over 12,000, which, funnily enough, that's almost as tall as base camp on Mount Everest. So the air is quite dry and thin, and one of the mountains that we hiked a couple years ago up there, Flat Top, is pretty much the same altitude. So maybe a little bit higher up there, but that's, if just for reference, like that's how high we're gonna be going. So this road just climbs and climbs, but we'll see how we go. We're only a few miles into the journey and we've already found the minivan going 10 under. Actually 11 under. The speed limit is 35 and this man's going 23, 24. All right, so there's one checked off the box. I haven't seen any wildlife yet, but we are still towards the bottom of the mountain. As you can see, we're still on the tree line. So once we get above the tree line is where we're gonna see all the fun little creatures, the little pikas and the marmots and all that fun stuff. So we'll see some of those for sure. There we go. So that's box number 1 checked off. Okay, so we made it to our very first stop, our very first pit stop with motorcycle. We're out here. We're probably about 2,000 feet above where we started. Off in the distance, you can see Long's Peak, the tallest mountain in Rocky Mountain National Park, sitting at well over 14,000 feet and just 2,000 feet below where we're going. And I almost forgot, but real quick, we have to mark off the bingo card stuff that we already got. Obviously, we got the free space, and then the minivan going 10 under. What a loser. We've seen a couple bikes, but I haven't gotten them on camera yet, so I'll wait till I get one on camera so you guys will believe me. Let's get back out there. With 2 boxes already checked off, I was feeling pretty confident, so we continued on to our next stop. Road closed ahead. I sure hope it is. I was about to leave, but then I saw this interesting little creature. Look at him and his long antennas. What a cutie patootie. Also, let me expose Evan real quick because he doesn't do chain maintenance. Look at this. That is like charcoal on there, and his front wheel's bent, and it leaks all the time. And we're off. We're back on the road again. We can finally see some snow just ahead, and it is July 10th, I think it is, or July 9th. So that's kind of crazy, but again, obviously at altitude the snow will stay a lot longer. So we've got a long ride ahead. I think we're still about 30 miles away, I would guess. Maybe less than that. I don't know. It's hard to judge because the speed limit is like 35 all the way up there. But I am kind of curious to see if the bike will have any performance issues as we get up to altitude. I've always been curious if that actually affects the motorcycle, if the power will be lacking. Kind of like if you've seen like a helicopter try to do like an Everest rescue or something. They can't produce enough power, but that's different because it's propellers. Okay, I'm just kind of, I don't know what I'm talking about, but we'll see. Anyways, we got some pretty little views out to the right side here, a bunch of mountain tops in the Rocky. All right, so let's keep her moving, keep her trucking, and then we'll check in a little bit when we find something else interesting. We do need to find some pikas, dang it. Those things are the cutest things in the world. I'm so excited to show you guys pikas. Pardon the horrendous lighting here, but we're just over 11,000 feet, and look how high up we are. That is crazy work. This is a wide angle lens, and this is as wide of a shot as I can get. It's crazy. We're almost above tree line, getting close. You can see all the mountaintops in the background with all the snow and stuff on them, as well as if I turn the camera, you can see just over the hill right there is Long's Peak, which is again 14,000 feet, over 14,000 feet. So we're pretty high up. In the summer of 1982, the failure of Lawn Lake Dam caused a massive flood that killed 3 and caused $31 million in damages to the town of Estes Park. Below us, you can still see the alluvial fan left behind by the flood of 1982. And believe it or not, since the last update that I just gave you guys, there has been no update to the bingo card. So haven't seen anything, haven't even seen a single elk, which is quite impressive because there's tons of them in the town down there, but there's not very many up here, surprisingly. So we still got a long ways to go, and at the top, there's gonna be a ton of stuff up there. There should be some moose, meese, something like that. So we'll go ahead and see what we can find. It is interesting, as we climb up a little bit higher, you'll see that all the trees start to be smaller in height. So down by the bottom of this road, all the trees are pretty tall, I'm not gonna lie to you. But now if you look on the left-hand side here, you'll see that the trees are getting smaller. And that's just because we're approaching the end of the tree line. So once it gets to a certain altitude, trees kind of stop growing, if you're unfamiliar with the nature side of things. So as you can see, like towards the top up there, the trees really thin out a lot, and that's just because we're so high up. So we've got a couple thousand more feet to climb, and then we'll be at the top, baby. I will tell you one thing right now, you do not want to fall over the side of this berry. Look at how steep that is. That is crazy. Oh, what's up? There's a motorcyclist. There we go. Check it off, baby. This is crazy, man. And there's not even any guardrails on this part. Yeah, if you're afraid of heights, man, this is not the one for you. 100% not the one for you. Look at all these guys on their little adventure bikes. A bunch of old folks. I love it. The town of Estes Park is full of old people, so it is no surprise to me that this is what we're stuck with here. That is insane. And we're above where the snow is at, so as you can imagine, the temperature has dropped quite a bit. The bike says 67, but it's definitely a little below that. And there it is. If you look on the right side, those tiny little stubby trees are probably the last trees we'll be seeing for a little bit. The rest of it up here is just rocks and flowers. So technically this is called the tundra. Not a lot grows up here except for these little wildflowers, which are very nice. And it is very cute because those little pikas I was talking about earlier love to hold onto those things and eat them. I think they eat them, I don't know. I always see them holding the flowers, and it's really cute. So I will feel unsuccessful if I don't find a pika this trip, but we're gonna find one, you best believe it. And then on the left side is all those mountains that I was just talking about, the big old mountain range, flat top, and all that nonsense. I don't know if you can see it. I have to really crank my neck for you to see it. And in the wintertime, this road would be completely covered in snow, like completely. I don't know if you can see it up there or not, but there's a few elk. I believe those are elk. Yeah, a couple of elk up there. I just want to make sure I get my facts straight before I mark off the wrong thing on the bingo card. But there we go, baby. We found some elk. It's not a moose, so I don't have to wave at it. A little bit of snow on the left as well. And this is quite a fun road for a motorcycle. It is crazy just how high up this is. Sure, with the GoPro, you won't be able to tell like the magnitude of it all, but it is incredible. Then we just keep winding up the road, and at the very top, the highest point of it, there will be a little visitor center and maybe a couple trails we can walk around and find some more animals and things of the sort on this beautiful Aprilia RS660. This bike is so much fun. The pops on the shifts are just to die for. A little snowfield right here. I could probably go frolic in that if I wanted to, but I'm sure there will be some more up at the top here, so I won't sweat it. Guess what time it is? Bingo time. We got a couple of good ones this time. We spotted another biker. Boom. And then we've also found the herd of elk. Maybe we should find a new Sharpie on the list as well. I think that's all we got, so let's continue on. I came in here to use the bathroom real quick, and I found this sign that I thought was interesting. Obviously, yeah, keep the restroom clean, right? Sit on the toilet during use, obviously, but do not use the floor, use the toilet. I mean, I figured that was kind of implied, but maybe it's not. All right, so we're walking up this little hiking trail here. We finally found a trail, and I will say it is crazy just how fast you lose your breath up here because of the thin air and the limited oxygen. It's very different than being at like 800 feet like I live in Texas. But like I mentioned, I feel unsuccessful unless I find a pika, and I feel like this is prime pika territory, so we're gonna keep on walking until we find one. After an unsuccessful hunt for pikas, we decided to head back down the trail. As we walked towards the trailhead, we noticed a few dark clouds beginning to roll in. If you look off in the distance, you can see some rain starting to come in, and conveniently, it's headed straight this way behind us. So we're gonna get stuck probably in some rain here soon, but lightning is actually a huge threat when you're all the way up here. That's why most hikers try to get down the mountain by the time the storms come in the afternoon. So we'll see how it goes. And if we can make it to that other side of the mountain there, I'm pretty sure this rain is just gonna pass through this area, but I don't think it'll reach all the way over there. And if it does, it'll just be a small shower. So hopefully that happens, we'll see. We're leaving the hiking trail and we're headed to the next location, which I believe is like the visitor center thing on the top of the mountain. So we'll go ahead and drive there, cruise through the twisties, and just have a grand old time. There's a little bit of snow there. I know I have to take a picture with some snow, but there's no pull-off spot here, and I'm sure there will be more snow once we get up higher. So yeah, believe it or not, this is not the top yet. I thought it was, but the road does wind up over there. I don't know if you can see all that, but Yeah, so there's that rainstorm we were talking about. It's gonna be close. We might have to pull off and find some shelter of some sort, just depending, but I think it's kind of moving back behind us a little bit, so we might just barely miss it, get some sprinkles maybe, but hopefully we're okay, because that is actually a huge threat. A lot of people do get stuck in thunderstorms and sometimes don't make it back, so hopefully that will not be us today. As I mentioned earlier in the video, there's like a million risks associated with doing this drive, especially on a motorcycle, because, you know, it's just insanely high and Mother Nature does not play up here. It is a lot different than it is back down at sea level, that's for sure. If I'm not mistaken, this is the highest part of the road right here, over 12,000 feet up in the air, and it's kind of hard to tell on camera, but there's a lot of little potholes and stuff in the road, and that's because up here in the winter time the winds will be up to 100 miles an hour, just blowing a ton of snow across these roads, which obviously takes a toll on it. For the most part, they try to keep these roads well kept, and it's actually not too bad, but there are some parts here and there that are worse than others. And if you're curious what these sticks are for sticking up out of the ground, it's for whenever there's a lot of snow on the road, and for whatever reason, if a vehicle has to come up here, that's how you would navigate where the road is just with these little sticks that stick up above. But sometimes the snow will be up even above that, which is crazy because that is a lot of snow. A few minutes later, we arrived at the Trail Ridge Road Visitor Center. I figured this would be the perfect place to find my girlfriend a gift, and I just so happened to find this perfect little squirrel, so I bought it. Before heading back to the search for a Pika, we decided to have some lunch, and by lunch, I mean a plate of nachos. It's mildly windy, probably about 3 or 4 miles an hour. I already lost my hat, but we're still looking for pikas, and I'm not going to stop till I find one. Sign of a pika nibbling on the fence. Let's keep looking. Okay, we just got off the trail, which is all the way up there. We climbed all the way to the top of that thing by those rocks up there, and there's a lady up there who was taking pictures on a rock, and the wind caught her, and she fell off of the rock and pretty much just snapped her ankle. We thought it was sprained at first, but then the paramedics came up. It was you could tell it was definitely broken, but I didn't want to film it for obvious reasons. But that just kind of goes to show you what it's like all the way out here. It's completely different than it would be, say, at sea level. All right, we're leaving the top, and we're gonna go back down to a couple other spots before we head back all the way down the mountain. Okay, we just finished filming a couple flybys and things of the nature, so we're gonna go ahead and head right back down the mountain, and then I'll catch you guys whenever we get there. Ooh, look at these rock formations, that's so cool. All right, now I'll leave. We began to make our 5,000-foot descent back into the town of Estes Park, but as I pulled into one last lookout spot, we found a few marmots running around. Aren't they so cute? Eventually, we made it back down the mountain, and it was time to mark off our bingo card. We reached the top, we found a gift for my girlfriend, and even took a picture with some snow. All right, so we're back in the land with the trees, and I have some good news, but I also have some bad news. The good news is that we saw a lot of fun stuff on this little trip. The bad news is that not only did we not see a pika, we also did not cross everything off of our bingo card, which is unfortunate. However, we did cross off a lot of things. Most of the things that we crossed off, I didn't even think that we would. So that's quite impressive. And then the things that I thought we would, we didn't. So I thought somebody would compliment the bike. I would compliment it, but it's not me, I guess, it's somebody else. So, but I went ahead and let my brother take out the bike for a spin. And while he does that, I guess I'll film the outro. So thank you guys all so much for watching. I do appreciate it. This was so much fun to film. And if you want to see me do some other dangerous roads out there in North America or even the world, let me know, because nothing is impossible. So I will see you guys in the next one. Thank you guys for watching. Click the subscribe button down below if you're new, and I'll see y'all in the next one. Peace out.